I think that we really must applaud Chris Brownie's performance because it is a view of Dalí through the eyes of someone who is constantly surprised and seduced by the world that he finds himself in. And that particular time frame that James, San Sebastian, as Dalí calls him, examines Dalí during are possibly the closing chapters of Dalí's life and the disintegration of his marriage and his coming to terms with mortality, a subject with which he struggled dreadfully. So our James, our San Sebastian, played, as I say, wonderfully by Chris, is the lens through which we examine how a genius leaves the world, which is something that I think audiences, well, hopefully, but I find fascinating. How does a mind as fertile and extraordinary as Dalí's say goodbye? I was delighted when Mary invited me to play Dalí. I did already have an example of his work in our house. It's the elephant with very long extended legs surrounded by angels. I love his work. I love his fearlessness, and he was exhilarating and exhausting to play, as I anticipated he would be. Mary's script and John's script is flawless. She invited me to participate on a modest scale, and I gave one or two suggestions. But it was a delight to work with her and a surprise to be offered the role of such a monumental intellect and artistry combined. A very, very intelligent man and fearless in his work. So I suppose I had to find a parallel fearlessness. I had to take terrible risks playing Dalí rather than being careful as an actor and careful in my portrait. I had to take certain risks that perhaps without a director as caring and as confident as Mary, I would not have been able to do. He was immensely witty, but his wit was one of utter fearlessness. I would imagine quite a difficult talent to digest today, but there was a part of him that was indigestible and take it or leave it. That's what I admired about him. An ontological security that defied fashion and zeitgeist and everything. And he was what he was. Difficult to play because the actor has to find a parallel approach to the role, as I say. My predecessor sitting here was Tilda Swinton, whom I adore, and she said, there's an awful lot of nonsense talked about acting. Acting is a combination of empathy and transformation. Simple, but not easy. Now, Dalí is consistent with his personality and his showmanship, of course, very well documented. So I was able to watch some marvelous footage of him through the years, and also read books by people who knew him, particularly the Amanda Lear biography, or the story of their relationship together. Because rather like dear Chris Brownie's performance, it was fascinating. It was I think, essential for me to see how others perceived him. Because he was like a prism. He reflected a different persona almost with everyone that met him, so that you never quite knew where you were with him, which I think was a kind of power play and also a kind of barrier between him and the world. I think that Mary has succeeded in showing Dalí in his environment, in Dalíland, and allowing the audience to take what they can from the man and from our portrayal of the man. I don't think that she presented a particular slanted view of him. I don't think she, for a second, manipulates the audience into thinking one way or the other. In a sense that, and I hope she would agree, in a sense that the film does reflect how he wished to be perceived or not perceived. The film, I think, has an unpredictable quality to reflect his. I think perhaps a film should be made in a style appropriate to the material, and Mary has made a film exactly in the style appropriate to the material. I hope that at best, as an actor, I'm a portrait artist, so my exercise was to create a portrait of a portrait artist. And I think that this is hopefully is what Mary and all of us will present to the audience. It is a series of glimpses of somebody quite enigmatic, and I think that is probably the best way to present him.